Okay. Good morning, Sharon, Kay.
Good morning,
Morning.
both of you.
How is everyone today? How are you?
Well, I'm feeling in high spirits because the day started lovely, and I, I always say to my husband, I feel like it's a white trainer day today, or a black
Oh,
trainer day, and today's a white trainer day.
That's optimistic, Sharon. White trainers.
Exactly. Uh,
means no rain.
mm, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Have you
Mm.
noticed how windy it is out there?
I haven't been out, to be honest.
I hadn't, but now that you said that, I'm looking out the window and the trees are blowing back.
The only reason I know that it's windy is because the scaffolder was supposed to put scaffolding up today to get the painting done, and it's too windy for a high scaffold. So now we've got
Oh,
half a scaffold, and he's going to be painting in a minute
Oh,
outside there, hopefully, fingers crossed.
mm.
You wouldn't think it was that windy, would you? But no, it's windy.
No,
We've got anything over 25 miles an hour. You can't put a scaffolding up there, and we're going to have 25 miles an hour wind later.
it
okay.
isn't that now, though.
No, but it's gonna get up. I went out just to check, and it is quite windy out there.
Oh, okay.
Have
Yeah.
to be a black train day.
I know. I thought it was a white trainer day this morning till the wind.
Yeah.
No.
Oh well. Oh
What
well.
about you, Kay? How are you feeling?
Feeling. Mm, how am I feeling? I just want to say okay. I'm feeling okay. I haven't got busy days at the moment. I'm kind of building my clientele up again. After my long break, extended break.
Do you ever look on the forum where people
Not
talk about
re
things?
No, not really. No.
Because as coincidence would have it, today there's one on there on the forum saying, how are you helping people cope with the anxiety about the war and the political situation? I know. So I was like, whoa, that's interesting because that's the question, isn't it? It's with the war that affects everyone, that's including the therapists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then people bring that in, their anxiety about it. It's a difficult thing to be able to sort of separate your beliefs and what you believe and feel about it because it's a thing that everyone's experiencing. Like in COVID, the people coming for counselling during COVID, you're all in it, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You're kind of in it together, aren't you? But you can't, yeah, you can't talk about your anxiety so much in session. It's about
No, I wouldn't talk
like,
about it at all.
no.
That would be my stance on it.
Mm.
Everyone differently. So even down to the fact that the government are putting a price cap on energy, and so we know that whether it's as simple as it's making it harder for people to live,
Yeah.
or whether they've got people they're worried about. I know, Kate, your flight home was cancelled, wasn't it?
Yeah.
How scary being stuck somewhere. Okay, you were able to work it, but for some people, that'd be like, no, I need to get home. I need to have this or that in place.
Yeah, I've got a dog in a dog kennel. I've got to get back home and organise
Yeah.
my life. I've got to go to work on a Monday. It's completely disruptive for a lot of people, isn't it?
Mm.
I was like, I'm stranded. Oh God, I'm stranded. How, how unfortunate.
Ah.
No,
Mm, go well.
I actually did have a little moment of panicking, but only because this other lady in the airport, when everyone's flight was being cancelled, I'd got like a little way, an hour into the flight, and then we stopped at Mumbai, and then it got cancelled. And she was very panicky, and she was going, but what if they've given this other flight in 9 days' time? What if that gets cancelled? And I was like, hold on a minute, because I was looking then for other flights and willing to kind of think about paying for another flight because
Mm.
they cancelled our flight and gave us this other flight in a few days' time.
Yeah.
And so then I recognised, what if? I was like, what if? What if she's panicking? Like that's all anxiety.
Yeah.
You've got anxiety, darling. And so I was like, okay, I'm just going to think, I've got another flight, I've got 9 days. Do you want to go back to Goa? Yes, I do. And I'll just have an extended holiday.
You
Yeah,
got on with it. It's
yeah.
just incredible, isn't it? What an
But
And
that
well done
experience.
you for recognizing
the,
that.
the
Be-
wording, the
you,
wording.
That what
it's
if?
infectious.
Yeah.
But the problem
Yeah.
is, in that situation, that what if sounds like a really reasonable thing to think.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
And she had other evidence because I was flying with Air India, and Air India are not allowed to go the other way over Pakistan. They can't fly because of the
Oh,
disagreements between India and Pakistan. They can't fly over. So it was like even more evidence. It's like they can't go that way. They can't go this way.
right.
Oh, it could get cancelled. And then I thought, no, they'll find a way around it. Yeah. I was like positive and thought I've got 9 days extra, but I'm sure that this flight in 9 days will be go. And everyone was like that in Goa. They was like, oh, but yeah, out. What if the next one gets canned? I was like, oh, what if? What if it
What
doesn't?
if it
What if it
doesn't?
doesn't?
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly. And also,
yeah,
if it does, then you'll deal with it at that time.
Exactly. Cross that bridge when
yeah,
you come to it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I would be along those lines as well, because it's a war. It's so out of control and it's so
Yeah.
big and huge and affecting global airlines.
Mm.
I would be inclined to have a little bit of doubt as to what on earth is going to happen because there was no
Yeah,
way of knowing what was
No.
no,
going to happen, and there
No.
still
no,
isn't.
No.
yeah. We're talking about having to get back for things. As it happens, it was all okay, but a friend's sister had to get back for her daughter's wedding. I mean, as her flight was cancelled and it was like panic, but it was in time for the wedding, rebooked in time. But yeah, what can you do? Nothing.
What can you do?
Absolutely. Yeah,
And
yeah,
also, it's against the backdrop of people actually losing their lives in a
Yeah.
country where war's
yes,
going on. And then that's my
yeah.
point about feeling
Who
guilty.
cares?
What right have you
Yeah.
got to complain about missing a wedding? But for that person, that's
Mm.
been their life for the last 2 years,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
their whole life has been disrupted. It hasn't been ended. They haven't had, people in hospital. And that's the guilt of it, isn't it? How can we complain about first world problems over here with a bit of disruption in
Exactly
your
that.
life
Yeah.
when there's people actually living in their kitchen because they're scared their buildings
Their
are going to get.
life. Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. I think that's the sad part, that it is like the reality of it is that people are dying. And the scary part is it might turn into a third world war.
Oh,
but it already
oh,
feels like that because it's from America, it's affecting all the countries in between. It already feels like a third world war, doesn't it?
Well, I don't think
You
we're
don't feel like
financially
that?
under threat, aren't we? But we're not at the moment. We've got that warship in Cyprus, haven't we? So we are involved. We're defending Cyprus at the minute, but we're not attacking anyone.
Right,
it's
okay,
so
yeah. So that, but it still feels like we're on the cusp of like a war footing with the gas,
Yeah,
petrol prices,
yeah.
food, and that worry about the, poverty, scarcity. I'm pretty sure it's out there of people thinking that. We're not actually there yet, but it feels a bit like just before COVID, or am I imagining that?
No, I think it is. I think there is a lot of anxiety and also people probably stockpiling stuff, water, bottles of water and stuff. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
it's just scary. It is because while it's important to live for today, you do need to plan, don't you? I don't know. If you think about it too much, it can be overwhelming because, yeah, you're right. We're lucky, really, first world problems, but it could spread.
But also, there's that balance of being aware of what's happening
Yes.
and feeling as though if you're not aware, then that means you're not informed. And if you're not informed, then you're stupid, right? It's that.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
idea that now we know about a goat that falls
yeah,
down a well 3,000
Yeah.
miles away, right? And we're
Yeah.
all upset about it. thinking about that little monkey. You know that little monkey punch that got upset recently and millions of people were following him and now he's did you get like that over him, Sharon? See, I see that sort of thing every year and I'm thinking I think that's quite normal behaviour for those monkeys. I didn't get involved
Yes.
in I feel so sorry for that little creature. He's got a girlfriend now. He's going to grow up to have little baby monkeys of his own and then he's probably going to treat his monkey badly and then everyone's going to hate punch, right?
Oh,
But we all get reeled into this stuff all over the
yeah,
world.
yeah.
Do we really need to? Does it make us ill-informed if we don't know all this stuff?
I
I
said to my husband yesterday, I said, "Oh, there's a war everywhere at the moment. It's just one after another. And he said, Sharon, there's always been wars. It's just that we know about them now. We know what's happening in outer Sudan or,
Yeah, I think
but
that there is something
yeah,
in that. It's a bit like the volcanoes and the earthquakes. They're always happening, but now we can
yeah.
see them live on YouTube. You can sit and watch
Oh,
a volcano erupting if you want, oh,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. Do you
Oh,
think there's sometimes too much information though? Um,
yeah,
and it causes anxiety. So if you buy into it too much, like in COVID, I did get quite anxious, and then because I was watching the news all the time, um,
mm,
so like several times a day, and then I cut it down to once a day, and I was watching the death toll
the
go up and
numbers.
up and up, and just thinking, oh, they really need to get a vaccine. I was just all the whole time I
yeah.
was thinking you just need to get a vaccine. And I thought they'd get it a little bit sooner, but they actually did get like a vaccine in
Mm,
time in the end. Well, not in
mm,
time for a lot of people,
So
but
what we need to
no,
work on then with this war business is thinking, let's hope the people in charge of the war manage to have some sort of peace and agreement then. This is what
yeah.
we're hoping for because that's the solution, isn't it?
I'm a bit fluffy, I know. It always seems to be in pe people in power always need to be in charge. Why can't they just agree? Oh, well, that's your space. It's my space. It's fine. And I don't know, be cogs in a team rather than one person up there ruling the roost and saying what's going to happen. But,
well,
mm,
technically, I think this is because they didn't get their narcissistic needs met in childhood. Because then they have that big defense of power and control.
yeah,
Like some of the leaders, Putin, Trump, they want power and control to make
mm,
themselves feel secure. But if they did have a secure attachment in
yeah,
childhood, it is all their own insecurities. But then people defend against that with power and control, I'm afraid.
so scary, so scary. And I don't know. I mean, there never has been a correct thing politically. So, ideally, communism, the idea of it was everyone's equal, and it sounds fabulous, and we all know it wasn't. um, but that's the thing. There's always someone saying, "Well, our country is superior because." Really? No, it's not. It's different. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what do we think about the idea of if people come into the counselling room and they're really worried and concerned and anxious about the war and the things that can happen? What do we advise people?
Stop watching the news so much. Don't have it on your phone, like watching it constantly all day long. You want to keep yourself updated, but maybe watch it every other day. Um,
Yeah, give yourself a window, right?
yeah,
I like you did in COVID, once a day in the end,
yeah, yeah,
or whatever it might be. But and also that what if scenario,
yeah.
because a lot of the anxiety is what if this happens? What if that happens? And it is challenging that, isn't it? Allowing yourself to worry and be anxious, but realizing actually it might not happen either.
Because that's our schema, isn't it? Is that our schema always on the lookout for like possible
Threats.
threats? Yeah.
Mm.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Sorry, I finished your
No,
sentence off for you guys.
no,
Sorry.
I was searching for that word. What is it? But yeah. So possible threats, and yeah, and they're not there. So I do say to my clients, if you're thinking, what if, then immediately it's not real. It's not a real situation. So this is
Mm.
something you've made up in your head to frighten yourself and scare yourself and make yourself anxious. And if you can think like that, okay, let's just dismiss that thought because it's not real. What is the
But
reality?
this is the problem. Let's just imagine you've got a daughter out there
Mm,
and she's working and she's being a teacher and you're watching her live in her kitchen and
mm,
she's got to go out to work
Mm.
every day. And then you go to your therapist and they're telling you, just don't worry
Oh,
about it. You're just doing that what if
yeah.
thing. You're just, just think about it once a day. But they're not going to be able to do that, are they? Because it's all
No.
consuming and they're looking at like the actual things that are
Yeah.
going on. And for them, it's very, very real, right? That because they've got to notice big things are happening so they can see the
Yeah.
developments. Because if anything gets too bad, they're getting their daughter on a plane and they're getting them the hell out of
Yeah.
there, right? So it's a real sort of this is happening,
Mm.
happening over there. It might not happen, but if something does happen, I want to be on top of it so I know.
True.
but keep
Very
it
true.
moment. I would say keep it in the moment, check in with your daughter, and she's safe right now while I'm talking to her. If she wants to come home, we'll
Yeah.
try and arrange that. But then you've got no control over making her come home, or
No.
if she wants to. So that's where you lose your control. So keep it in the moment. Keep like right now, she's safe, everything's okay in the moment. It always is.
Mm.
And so keep it in the moment. That's what I say to people with like
All
Really
you can
strong
do.
because it's so strong, isn't it? That feeling of I've got to watch out for my children and adult children to see what's happening to them, to see, make sure they get back.
yeah.
That's the thing. It's really hard. So, if you've got a child, a grown-up child out there, um, who's maybe, like you say, taken on a job role, whatever, our anxiety, we watch the news and it is horrendous. They are living there, and sometimes where they are might be okay. Or they may feel secure enough. And unfortunately, it's there all the time for me. If they want to come home and you're in a position to, yes, you would help them.
That is the other
No,
thing. People are buying tickets on planes just in case and then not using them. And of course, some planes coming back half empty
Mm,
because people are saying, right, if it gets really bad, here's a ticket, you can come back next week. And then not, then it doesn't really get bad. So they just leave that one. But there was someone
yeah,
else that might have been able to get on it if they hadn't
yeah,
bought a ticket. So it is a bit
mm,
like, when people panic, a bit like you say about the buying loo rolls, buying plane
mm,
tickets is a similar thing.
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I know. Even here, a couple of petrol stations ran out of certain types of petrol. I
No,
mean, yeah,
because people were filling all their cars up while it was
yeah,
cheap. Oh, and who can blame them?
madness.
Who can blame
Yeah,
them?
yes, absolutely. Changing subjects a lot, but I'm just thinking having a daughter. So this meningitis epidemic. So my son is at Kent
Oh,
No.
University, and my daughter is at Christchurch, Kent University. So fortunately, my son came home literally, I think it was the day the outbreak happened. So he was fine. We knew that. My daughter phoned me in a panic. Um, so she was worried, what am I going to do? It's like straight away you do your research, and I was said to her about basically the safety procedures are similar to what we learned in COVID. So it's like keeping your distance, washing hands regularly, and blah, blah, blah. So I told her that. She also did her research. My husband was in a position to be able to send her face masks and hand gels down. So, and gradually she calmed herself down. Her uni said all lessons will be teach online if you choose to. So it was a proper whoa. And but she's home now, and she did calm down quite quickly, 2 or 3 days. We'd seen things put in place, and then she said the last week she didn't go out for a week. She literally stayed put if she could, and she did.
I think I'd have been
Yeah,
out of there on the first
yeah,
bus out. I'd have been gone. I wouldn't have been
yeah,
anywhere near a meningitis outbreak. Now you look at the COVID and you realise how easy it is to pick things up, and we
yeah,
lived through it. The ones of us that managed to live through it and got through it.
yeah,
But
yeah.
meningitis, it's not something you want to risk on anyone, is it?
No, and it was weird as a parent. To I was like, I didn't want her to panic, but I equally wanted her to be safe. Um, my mum was panicking. She was like, "Oh, Sharon, have you seen what's on the news?" And I'm like, "Mum, calm." Life throws things at us, doesn't it? And we either hide, live, or we learn to adjust if we can, if the situation allows it. So she knew we were there to support her if she wanted it, but equally also going to help her stay grounded, if that makes sense.
It does. It's an absolute skill, isn't it? An art to learn to stay calm in a
Yeah,
crisis, because that is definitely a crisis,
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah, yeah. So yeah, the war and the meningitis outbreak, the news hasn't been great, has it? Last couple of weeks.
No.
Mm.
And also with that war, thinking about that, when people come into the counselling room, everyone's got their own views and their political beliefs, haven't they? Whether they believe Donald Trump's done the right thing or whether he's done the wrong thing or whatever. And then they
Yeah,
come in and they're
yeah.
looking at you, what do you believe?
Oh, yeah. Not easy, that one.
No,
Mm.
it isn't.
So what do you do in that situation, Tamsin?
I stay neutral. I
Yeah.
really don't say one way or the other. I try and stay neutral. If anyone did ask me directly,
Yeah,
because it would influence whether or not they wanted to work with me or not, I would tell them. But I would, because then they've got a choice to go and find another therapist that agrees with them in
mm,
all points of life, right? But is it
mm,
really necessary for you to have the same political beliefs as your therapist? No.
No.
But for that client, they might feel so strongly that they couldn't
mm,
possibly work with anyone that had a different
yeah,
belief to them. But then that is the thing to work on. But it's a very
mm,
real
mm,
life
mm,
experience, isn't it, for people, what they
mm,
believe?
yeah,
Oh, I mean, it's a bit like the business about having children or not having children, isn't it? Or being married or not being married. It's the same. How much do you self-disclose and how does it affect a person?
yeah,
And what is the right thing to do or appropriate for that person?
mm,
I have
yeah,
actually had that experience with one client who was um he was Catholic, and I didn't have any opinions about being Catholic or but he thought, and I didn't disclose whether I was or not, thought I was Jewish. Um so he was just like quite rude and like religiously um motivated, I guess.
which fine, but why did he come and see you? If he
Yeah.
assumed,
Well, there was an insurance and
oh,
allocation. He could have requested another therapist. He could
Mm,
have said, "I don't want this therapist." And
mm,
I didn't want to say I can't work with you, but it was very difficult. It was
cool.
very difficult to
Mm,
work with him. And in the end, he did have another therapist. Yeah.
mm,
yeah.
So
So do you feel it would
mm.
be sort of abandoning the client then if you were to say, I'm fine, I can't work with this differences of beliefs?
That's really difficult. Well, yeah, because depending on why they're there to see you, sometimes it is about fear of abandonment.
mm,
And you are in a really, because whilst you should or shouldn't work with someone, is your, you, if you don't want to work with someone, it's usually because you don't think you will give them the best that you can. So actually, you're doing the right thing. There with an abandonment problem, or that somehow in there for abandoning them. It's, yeah,
Yeah.
really difficult situation.
And when you look at that, as you say, Sharon, why did he come to you? He might have
Mm,
come to you just to prove that women do reject him and abandon him, and he's got a reason now. Look,
and there was that those issues going on, abandonment. So
wow.
yeah, I didn't want to. Thinking about this afterwards, after the like once we ended, I would have probably liked to explore our relationship more. I was trying to be neutral and trying to not bring the felt sense into the session. I think I would now bring that felt sense. I'm feeling like there's some sort of conflict or rejection. And how do you experience the relationship? So learning from that. I've learned from that. Yeah.
yeah, but it's a really tough one, isn't it? Especially when it's about religion.
Yeah, yeah. Because I'm
Yeah.
quite spiritual, but then I do like everyone believes what they believe, and
Mm,
that's all right. Yeah. So
mm,
I'm not very orthodox in anything, I guess. So
yeah.
Yeah, so
so
if
Yeah.
someone, sorry, Sharon, go on.
No, go on.
If someone, if someone, we do this for about 10 minutes each session, don't we? Let's just all stop and start. It's okay. If someone asked you what your political beliefs were, or if you were on Donald Trump's side or not his side, or what you thought, how would
um
you deal with that in the counselling room?
I think I'd have to be honest.
Would you?
I'd
You
have
wouldn't
to
say, you wouldn't, sorry, go on, you would. You'd be honest and
uh,
say,
if someone just outright said, normally they say what they believe. And I listen to that and I don't challenge it. I don't think you should challenge their beliefs. So, but I haven't actually had people saying, like, what are your beliefs about Donald Trump and Putin? I mean, I
Mm,
I think they're quite random. And like I said, they're dealing in power and control, aren't they? That's their defense for feeling not good enough. That's what
mm,
I believe.
yeah.
so what do we think about the idea that
Perception.
there are people surrounding these people who can see what they're doing and no one steps in and says, hold on a minute, what are you doing? No, what? How are we not, how do we not have people that are trained to spot the
Yeah.
narcissistic wound around these people so that I can say, hold on, there's something here that needs work on. Can we have mandatory psychotherapy for our leaders every week, please? Is that not a thing? Like what how is this happening that we can all see this and everyone's watching what's going on? Wars are breaking out, people are being killed, and yet there's no one in a position to say, can
Yeah.
we just can we just have a little chat about this?
But he wouldn't. I don't feel like looking at that meeting between Zelensky and Trump, that first meeting they had, if you're trying to challenge him or even bring your needs to him, he's not going to listen, is
But
he?
that's the point. That's the point, is to get people around so that people that are
Mm.
narcissistic and that way inclined don't get to that position.
Mm.
Thing is, again, and and again, that is our perception. We're
Yeah,
not there.
yeah,
Then people might be, oh, this guy is brilliant and he cares, and um, it's so difficult. Or they could be, uh, I mean, he could be so controlling that almost scared to rock the boat, and that so we just don't know what it's like to be there. But and it just, yeah, he could be the most caring guys, which is hard to see, or he could be like Hitler.
yeah.
Okay, so have we had any more thoughts about anything war related and any ideas we could give people for coping with the stress?
Yeah, I would just say keep it in the moment. Keep it in the moment. If you've got people out there in Dubai or wherever you've got people, Israel, just keep it in the moment. Check in if you need to. But yeah, and keep it in the now because that's really the most realistic thing you can do, isn't it?
I think to allow yourself to be anxious, it's when we try and stop that, the panic starts and the brain releases things it shouldn't be releasing. So, yes, allow yourself to worry, but try and allow a worry window. You know, you'll watch the news at 6 o'clock every evening, your phone, your loved one day or once a week, whatever it might be, try and allow these windows. Um, and other than that, try and live day to day.
Yeah, and stay off social media so you're not bombarded with the images. And if
Yeah.
you do have to get information from somewhere, try and read it rather than see
Mm,
pictures because those
Yeah.
images just stay with you, don't
mm,
they? I think I had, let's
yeah.
quickly change the subject. Was it, did you, one of you two recommend this book to me? Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents? Well,
I've
no.
not.
Oh, have you got this book, Kay?
No,
You're
no.
going to love this one. It's great. I'm going to suggest this for our next reading
Okay.
extravaganza.
Okay.
It's
I
really
wonder
good.
if it's on Audible. I hope so.
I would have thought
You,
so. More than 750,000 copies sold, and it's really good.
what's it called again?
Adult children of emotionally immature parents, how to heal from distant, rejecting, or self-involved parents by
Oh my
Lindsay C.
goodness.
Gibson.
And
Yeah,
yes, it's on Audible.
that's by
Uh,
Lindsay C. Gibson.
yeah,
Okay. And
And it's
so
yeah.
what have
I've
you read?
I've
Yeah.
started reading it. A few
Uh,
bits in. It's a very light read. It's really interesting, and
Oh, is it?
it breaks it down how to recognize the patterns. I'll read out some of the chapter headings to you. You can see how emotionally immature parents affect their adult children's lives, recognizing the emotionally immature parent, how it feels to have a relationship with an emotionally immature parent, four types of emotionally immature parents, how different children react to emotionally immature parenting, what it's like to be an internalizer, because it has this thing about some people internalize it and some people externalize it, breaking down and awakening, how to avoid getting hooked by an emotionally immature parent, how it feels to live free of roles and fantasies, how to identify emotionally mature people. So, again, there's a
Wow.
lot of sort of looking at the parts that are wrong and the bits that need healing but also a little bit of how to avoid that. But there's really not a lot of literature out there of how to
No.
do the healthy thing,
No.
how to be healthy, how to be emotionally mature, how to go from emotionally immature to emotionally mature. Is
No.
there really?
No. How lovely to have that teaching, that if you like, for the child who has been parented immaturely, because so often they like feel guilt for feeling anger at the parents. So to have it in black and white, written by someone else, might be a bit of almost like, oh, okay, it's not just me that feels like this.
It's validation, isn't it?
Mm. Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
I feel like my mum was emotionally immature. And I didn't know that obviously till I'd done my own counselling. And I mean she was great, she was lovely, my mum, but she was emotionally immature and she took up all of the emotional space. So then like everyone else is like, oh, we can't have emotions because mum's got them all. And
Mm.
so I think that for me anyway is how to recognize it. And also
Mm.
there's a bit of codependency going on. I feel like my mum was, was quite initiated or facilitated a codependent relationship. I think
Yeah.
that she needed me to do certain things or
Yeah.
be there, and she obviously had abandonment issues as well. So then I get the abandonment issues. It just goes on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really
Absolutely.
interesting because there's a lot of things now, you've probably seen them on TikTok where people say things like, you get psychologists go on there and talk about the reasons why people do the oversharing, reasons why people do, and then all of the traits and symptoms that come about because
Mm.
of the trauma they've had as a child.
Mm.
And part of that is having an emotionally immature parent, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. And sadly, as Kate has said, the emotionally immature parent, your mum, Kate, was a loving mum. That
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that they're parents in that intentionally. They love their children. We've said it for years. We don't get a manual on how to parent our children. We do our best, and often that is nowhere near good enough, sadly.
For next time.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we've come to an end of the session then, haven't we, really? Because is there anything else we want to talk about this subject of the war?
Not subject of the war. I don't know whether this is for the podcast or not, so I will. Did you know Danielle, who we interviewed last time, has just had an article about her journey printed in the Sun?
Oh,
Wow.
brilliant.
I know.
Oh, how
Yeah,
lovely. Oh,
yeah,
we'll have to put a
yeah,
little link, try and find
yeah.
it and add it to the
Saw that on TikTok
podcast.
last night, so yeah,
Brilliant.
thought I'd share.
Really good.
Hmm.
She made it to
Excellent.
mainstream media. Great.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Really good. Good for
Mm.
her. She's done so well.
Mm. Mm.
Excellent. Good. Okay. Well, it's lovely to see you both here. And then we'll try this again in a few weeks. We're going to try and stick to every third Tuesday. Oh,
Yes.
bye,
Okay.
everyone.
Bye,
Yes.
everyone.
Goodbye, everyone. See you next time.
Okay. Bye.